Hi, and welcome to Talks with Shay. So, today I would like to begin with reading from Colossians chapter 4 and verse 6. And it says, "Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man." So today, for Clean It Up, for part four, I would like to talk to you about attitudes. So when I'm talking about attitudes, I'm talking about we have so many different attitudes, right? Sometimes, like they say, we wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Guilty. I'm like that. If I give me time to get in my little prayer corner and get my little spirit right before I just start doing all kind of things. We thank the Lord for prayer time because baby, I need it. But anyway, we're talking about cleaning up those different attitudes. Now, some of those attitudes we don't need to clean up if we have them down pat. But let's be honest with ourselves about those little attitudes that we have sometimes that we may need God to help us to clean it up. So today I want to encourage you to help you to realize that you can do better with your attitudes. We all can do better with our attitudes, right? I think about just when you think about different scenarios that happen in our lives and we go through different things. And sometimes, depending on the day that we're having, determines a lot about how our attitudes will be for that day. If you're going through a rough time in your life, say today or whatever, and you may be all pouty and everything else like that. So you're walking around with a chip on your shoulder, having an attitude with everybody that ain't got nothing to do with what you're going through. We need to work on those things because when we think about it, people that have done us nothing and we're supposed to be children of God or call ourselves Christians or whatever you may call yourself, a good person or whatever, taking things out on somebody that has nothing to do with your situation that you're going through is not fair to that person. So I try my best and my hardest that if I'm having a rough day, to kind of stay to myself and not be out and about everywhere because I'm like, I don't want that to rub off on someone else. But that's not always the case because we work and we have to go to work and we can't go to work with an attitude with everybody on the job. And then they looking at us like, what's wrong with you? Them people ain't did you nothing. Stop taking it out on them. When I think about just life in general, for me, I can honestly say I know how to, like they like to tell you, when you go on your job, you leave your problems at the door. Leave them at your house. Don't bring them onto the job. I thank God that I'm able to do those things. That I don't allow what's going on in my life to determine how I act towards other people. Now, the person driving in front of me might work on my nerve, and I'm like, oh my God. But I try to get away from them since they're working on my nerves. But when we go, life happens for all of us. And it's up to us to determine what kind of attitudes we're going to have towards other people. Because other people, it's not always everybody's fault what you're dealing with. Sometimes life choices that we've made in our lives because they were not correct cost us some things, some discomfort in our lives, some uncomfortable situations arise, and because of the choices that we've made. And sometimes, if we're not careful, and I'm guilty of that, the wrong decisions that I've made, I'm so hard on myself because I'm like, I feel like what I did that for, I should have known better, blah, blah, blah. And the reality of it is, we can't take it back. We make wrong decisions, and guess what? We're going to make another wrong decision. But it doesn't mean that our attitude has to be stank. You know what I'm saying? We need to fix that. We need to show the world, for one, what love looks like, what a kind person looks like. No matter what's going on in your world, no matter what's going on in your life, you find you time with God to get all of that frustration off of your chest. You know, when I think about this trauma that I just went through like a year ago or whatever, and look, I could have just stopped doing my talks with Shay. Why? Because my world was flipped upside down, but I didn't. And if me telling you this now, you wouldn't know. Because why? It didn't change what I was doing. It didn't change my purpose in life. It didn't change my goal, my vision. It didn't affect my life to the place of where I have an attitude with everybody. I'm checked out and I don't want to do nothing. Because guess what? Life goes on. It's all about pushing forward, pushing through what you're dealing with, and keeping your attitude and your spirit pleasing to God. That's the ultimate. You know, when we look at certain people, and I told somebody today, you know, they shared with me, they felt like they was a failure, or yesterday, whenever it was, and I said, we all fail, but it doesn't mean you're a failure. So no matter what you're going through in your life, you can still have the right spirit and the right attitude about it. And if you struggle in that area, I encourage you today to find you a prayer corner. Find you some time alone with God, because he's the one that brings peace into your mind. Our pastor preaches it all the time. You can live in peace in the midst of chaos. And I'm a living witness of that. I've done it for years. I've done it before I knew God, and I'm doing it while I'm in my walk with God. So it's possible. But guess what? It's up to you to decide. Am I going to just walk around like I have no hope, when we serve a God that provides us with hope? We have to work on having better attitudes no matter what's going on. Because guess what? Like they always say, there's always somebody in a worse situation than you. And if you think not, baby, come along with me. I'll take you to them homeless people begging for money. I don't know, them people probably have more money than us, y'all, but I'll show you where they sleeping outside. You got a roof over your head. They don't know where their next meal coming from. I bet you know. You have the ability to do those things, and there are people in this world that don't have that. If you got your health, you need to praise God for that. There's people laying in hospital beds right now. So our attitudes, don't let life determine how you're going to respond by having a funky attitude and nobody want to deal with you, right? And I'm just telling y'all the God honest truth. And you may say, it's easier said than done. Baby, I done walked it. Okay? I done walked it. I done lived it. And I don't allow life to just take me so far back that my attitude is so stink that people don't want to be around me. So if you find yourself don't have friends, your circle is very small, sometimes God allows it that way, but sometimes it's your attitude. So I encourage you today to check yourself, reevaluate yourself and your attitude and your spirit, and say, God, I need help in this area. You need encouragement. You find that person that can encourage you in the midst of it, and receive what they tell you. Take it and apply it to your life. There's things out there, and there's a God, more than likely, more than anything, I should say, that is wanting you to have the right spirit through the fire he has chosen for you. Now, some of those flames we done bought on ourselves, right? And then when the flames get hotter, we're like, hold up, time out. But guess what? So what? We made a wrong decision. We made a wrong choice, and it's okay. Shake it off. God's going to bring you to the next chapter, but make sure you keep your spirit and your attitude right. Because what I've learned in my walk with God, when my attitude is right and I allow, listen to what I said, allow God to heal me, he brings peace into my spirit that I'm not walking around like I should. You know, I've heard people say it many times, you don't look like what you've been through. And guess what? I praise God for that, and I thank God for that, because my life could have been in another direction, but he has kept me, and I've trusted him through it all, and I have allowed him to heal me. And until you let it go, first you got to accept it, then let it go, and then let him heal you, you can have the right spirit and and the right attitude no matter what you're going through in your life. Trust God, lean on Him, and know that your attitude, people are watching. And what kind of light are you being to the lost people or the people around you? Are you showing them what God looks like in the midst of it, or are they seeing your flesh? So you have to make that decision. In the midst of my fire, can I keep my spirit and my attitude right? Because guess what? If you don't, you're probably going to end up staying there longer than you wanted to, just like them children of Israel, 40 years, because they had the right spirit and the right attitude. So clean up your attitude so God can take you to that next chapter in your life. So, before I go, I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, check out my website at www.talkswithshay.org. You can subscribe to my videos on YouTube and find me on Facebook. Like my page, share my page. Invite your friends to like my page. And until next time with Talks with Shay, Shay is out. Y'all be blessed.